once again, sorry that we're talking about the trivia that we just came from, but don't have 3 questions about coastlines without knowing what the coastline paradox is.
Raph caused the scene there because, in fact, it was a real down around moment that 3+ questions were about the length of coastlines. You could just see the glimmer in Raph's eye when the question was asked because he anticipated that there would be a dispute. And he was
That's
right.
the thing.
I've never been more humiliated in my life than seeing Raph bring over the trivia host, the pub trivia host, and be like, mate, have you ever heard of the coastline paradox? So last week we talked about when Grok went Nazi.
Yes.
Grok went
Mega
Nazi.
Hitler.
It turned into Mecha Hitler. It was a unedifying time for all involved. We did specify during the episode that it was going to come out most likely after Elon Musk did a presentation announcing the next version of Grok.
Yeah.
And for those who are just tuning in, Grok is obviously XAI, which is Elon Musk's
His
AI
version
company.
of ChatGPT.
Totally, it's his exactly. It's his LLM, his AI model. They did announce Grok 4 in the interim.
Early doors. Well, actually, early doors is the worst presentation I've ever seen in my life. But whatever.
Okay, I want to pause on that for a second because it was an incredibly humiliating presentation to watch. But I will say that all of them are.
Yeah.
We are so far from like the Steve Jobs, one more thing, the classic iPhone presentation where it was like, it's an internet communication device. Yeah. It's a new next generation iPod. It's a mobile phone. And then he goes, and they're all the same device.
Yeah, and we're all like, whoa! Yeah, we're a long way
so far from that. And it's an unfortunate fact that they know that the audience of these AI presentations, in large part, are the nerds who are locked in on it. It's not general audience.
Yeah.
I don't even know if like Apple's, maybe their phone presentations get like a slightly more general audience.
Yeah, but Apple knows that there's going to be a journalist at every like major news organization that's going to report on what they're saying. And what that means is that like you have to speak in quotable sentences that are going to be put into news articles, right? Which means that you have this like really unhuman way of talking. Like they all sound like robots. It's really fucking annoying.
Yeah, they do.
It's worth saying the Grok thing wasn't really like that. It was a bunch of kind of nerds babbling.
And this is not just an XAI problem. All of the OpenAI presentations, and same with Anthropic, although those are a little bit more low key. But they bring on people from their actual AI team, like their core model teams, to sit there and talk to the camera and explain what's going on. And these are not presenters, folks.
I'm going to be honest though, like it's quite rare outside of the marketing team for these major organizations that you actually do have presenters. What you have is either people who've been drilled within an inch of their life who just are basically boring robots, or people who it's quite obviously antisocial.
Yeah, these are not social butterflies, folks. These are not pro presenters. But the Grok one was pretty. They had one marketing guy there, but his whole presentation was he would pull up Grok, type in an inquiry, and he was like, all right, we're going to let that take some time to answer the question, and I'm going to talk about some other stuff. It was really not gripping at all. But in a way that's kind of understandable because it's like Grok 4 is really optimized towards answering hard statistics, mathematics, physics problems.
Look, here's the thing. Let's just summarize this really quick because there's no point laboring on this, especially for people who are like, you're talking about fucking AI again. Grok 4, it seems like it's pretty good. It hits a lot of benchmarks well in real life. Does like who cares?
Yeah,
it's easy to kind of meet.
It does well on the benchmarks, but
we don't know yet because we've seen with Llama that hitting benchmarks doesn't necessarily mean that in practice it's actually better at coding than Claude or this, that, and the other. But I think the key thing here is one of the major features. Let's just get to the saucy bit. Mate? Sex sells.
Let's skip all that it seems like Grok 4 is a great model, whatever. According to the benchmarks, it's the number one model in the world, whatever.
According to people who've been using it, it's like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. You know, I can't tell whether it doesn't feel like it's better than the Claudes or the the OpenAIs at the moment, but it's up there. It's right up there,
and like good work, Elon Musk, for accelerating up to the cutting edge by just throwing a bunch of money out of spite.
Yeah, which is, to be fair, this is what we were saying like 6 months or 9 months ago when they released the last model. Yeah, it's right up there.
It's impressive that he's managed to do that.
Yeah.
But you're right. The whole reason that we're kind of revisiting Grok, apart from, after last week we talked about it, it went Nazi, etc., is the fact that the very first thing they've announced is if you download the Grok app and you're subscribed to their upper tier of their subscription model, you get access to a beautiful anime wife.
Jeez. I still don't know what to say about this.
Yeah.
We've talked about this concept at length.
We had an AI Girlfriends episode. Tom Cashman, a listener of the podcast, came on to talk about it. That's accelerating. So Elon Musk, if you go to Elon Musk's Twitter feed right now, you'll see he's retweeted 1 million posts about this. They've added Grok companions to the app, of which there are 2. The main one being a scantily clad anime woman. And the other one is like an anthropomorphic raccoon or something, or like a red panda, or it's some sort of like rodent-like creature. But the main one that everyone's posting about is this kind of anime woman.
It's what you would imagine when you think anime girl.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess is of like, this is the thing with fucking anime. Isn't the whole idea like it's basically mid-teen? I'm gonna be honest here. Anime stuff is rock spider adjacent.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get any arguments.
Like anime girls, quote unquote. What age are they supposed to be?
I think that's a great question, and I would say this one is dubious.
Yes, highly dubious.
Highly dubious.
And let me be clear here. We're talking about XAI. They have something like 200,000 GPUs, but they have on order 1 million GPUs. It will become, they have the biggest GPU cluster in the world. And I think on order, my understanding is they're going to at some point have more NVIDIA GPUs than any other AI cluster in the world. And one of their features of their new model is AI anime waifus.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Of an indeterminate age, may I once again reiterate.
When we had our episode about AI girlfriends and how we found it to be, a relatively disturbing intrusion on human civilization, I'm not passing judgment on anyone who's listening who may have an AI girlfriend. Okay, maybe a little bit of judgment, but, whatever.
I have significant amounts of judgment.
Sure, but different strokes to different folks, whatever. But it is kind of remarkable that we're talking about Elon Musk, richest man on earth.
He's a pro increasing the population guy.
Yeah, he's a real big.
He's a birth rate guy.
He's a big guy he thinks one of our biggest problems in the world. Like, I think he's putting it above climate change. He's putting it above everything. Is that the birth rate is too low, and society's going to decline as a result.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a have kids guy.
Yeah.
I put myself in the bucket of like...
You should have children.
2 plus X.
Yep. I'm not 100% certain if you are of that view.
You should be dedicating 1 million NVIDIA GPUs to AI waifus?
To build an anime wife that anyone can access. And it's uncensored, which is a big part of it.
Yeah,
and there is about
I'm genuinely, this fucks me up.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy, and like it is very funny. If you go into Elon Musk replies, he posted the tweet, like he quote tweeted this picture / video of this anime woman. He was like, "Grok companions, open the app now. You can access them." And the top reply was a guy being like, "This is not helping the birth rate, bro," which is kind of a crazy reply anyway.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong, but and Elon Musk was like, "Or maybe it would help it."
What does he mean by this?
What could he possibly find? And then there are replies from guys, because like if you look at any Elon Musk reply, there's like a million just like random guys who love him, which is fine. You know, he's the richest man on earth. That's going to happen.
Yeah,
and he's real life.
Yes,
he's real life Tony Stark. He's going to.
Oh yeah.
But there are guys who are trying to like twist that and being like, it looks bad, but maybe it will help guys who are, you know, awkward about talking to women. It'll teach them to talk to women, and then later on they can have real interactions in real life.
Yeah.
There's no human being in real life that's going to talk to you like your weird sycophantic anime wife. You're not learning skills by talking.
Being a weird freak and your anime wife saying like, you're awesome, and then you go out into the real world and try that on human women.
I'm not sure that works.
I don't know. Also, why? If you have like a sycophantic anime waifu and you're into it because, you know, you're paying for it.
Yep.
Why would you go into the real world? B, the second you go into the real world, you'll be shunned, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Let me be clear here.
The sort of stuff, you know. Now,
there's so many broader points here, but like, should we go straight? You were going to say a big point. I was going to go into the business case, and I was going to go into like character. I was going to go into the fact that the only real businesses that exist that are making heaps of money off.
Yeah. I mean that's fair. Like exactly, all these like top layer AI stuff, the stuff that are not doing the foundation model stuff. You'll find that these companion
apps are making money.
They are making money.
Can we go down round for a moment? So like a couple of things. One. And we're going to get into this later with Cursor, whatever. One, it's hard to make money if you're a rapper. You don't make, as you say, the underlying you don't make the underlying model. You're not ChatGPT. You're not OpenAI, who are like making the model and then building the application on top. If you're just the application, it like Perplexity, we've talked about for months and months and months about how their uncertain future. They don't have any models of their own. They're just an app that uses someone else's model. It's hard to make money unless you are in these niches of a place that OpenAI won't touch or Anthropic won't touch or Google won't touch, which is these companion apps where you're like effectively a girlfriend or boyfriend. Seems like Meta is maybe somewhat like it's kind of skirting around the edges of with like Granny Cougar, as we discussed last week.
Yep.
Again, if you're listening for the first time, it's like, Jesus Christ.
You got to go back.
Like, okay, you're talking about waifus this week, but last week you're talking about Granny Cougar? Okay, good. Anyway, I can see how you can make margin there, is what I'm getting at. As a companion app thing, it's like people who are normal people. Well, I say normal people. People who want an AI companion, you can use a cheap llama model, Quen, DeepSeek, whatever. The cheapest, an older OpenAI model, Sonnet 3.7, the cheaper kind of like models, you plug, and it'd be cheaper than that. They wouldn't even be using Sonnet 3.7. They'd be using the llamas and the cheap old models. You plug that into your interface. You charge people $30 a month. It probably costs you, and because these people are probably fucking thrashing it, probably cost you $4. Heaps of margin to be made on like these companion apps, but because you don't have to use like the best models in the world, people aren't using it to code, they're not using it for productivity, they're not trying to find their own margin on top of it, they're making money. So when your XAI, which is, as we discussed last week, in 4th or 5th place when it comes to actual like generating revenue off AI applications, with in the first few places being ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic, etc., it's like, well, this is an area where you can make margin, companion apps. So this is a wedge where maybe we can jump ahead, given that we're the based
with the
free
base one.
Speech.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do anything you want.
Well, this is the point I was going to make. It's like, you know, this is obviously crass and lewd and offensive and sort of like.
Amen, brother.
I'm not saying this is like to be a prude. I'm just saying that they're obviously approaching the way it was like you can like get in and start sexting with your weird XAI companion, and Elon Musk has no problem with that. But like,
Fucking hell.
aside from that shit, is it dramatically different fundamentally from OpenAI doing eternal memory and being like, we want to be your assistant.
Yeah.
And we're building something new. Obviously,
your ambient
personal
assistant
that
AI, basically the operating system of your life.
that like you can talk to vocally or you can interact with it with text, and it's completely sycophantic and it's never going to tell you you're wrong. And obviously, this is not what OpenAI says explicitly, but it's how the software works. And yes, Elon Musk makes it incredibly horrible by making it this literal, like, pink-haired, scantily clad anime babe. Yeah, like, have your moment. And that's obviously very bad. But then OpenAI is kind of doing the same thing, just without like that horrible layer on top.
Yeah, not having the anime picture on top.
There's no like animated weird anime woman on top, but it's still doing the same thing. Yeah. It's like learning everything about you. It's interacting with you in a way that you find soothing and would compel you to interact with it more.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But that's the crassness of Elon Musk. But this is the thing. People like myself, yourself, and I would our listener.
Yeah.
You, the listener, you, dear listener. I said this before, like a year ago when we were talking about Netflix, etc. And like it was back in we haven't touched on it lately, but the HBO going Discovery and all this kind of crap. How it's like fancy TV shows like Succession or whatever.
Yeah, prestige
television that you, dear listener, and all of your friends are watching. Their ratings in the scheme of things are fuck all.
Yeah.
They pale into comparison to Love Island.
Yeah, Love Island or like, yeah.
Or whatever you want to, like, Jersey Shore. I don't know if I have no recent.
It's not Jersey Shore. But even like the big one is like Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Which is like the Western show gets so many more viewers than like Succession or whatever.
Yeah, but it's the same thing where it's like we use ChatGPT and we see it's like, okay, I can see you're a bit sycophantic. And for the most part, though, in the back of your mind, there's some subconscious thing that actually likes the fact that it's complimenting you constantly. But at the same time, we're so wise and emboldened that we're like, but we're aware of it. And this Grok stuff where you're showing an anime waifu is far too crass. Surely no one is into it. It's like people are into it. The majority of people do just want a personification of a friggin' anime waifu that might be 14 fucking years old doing the same sycophantic. OpenAI it's not sexual, but it is pedantic to the point of like psychosexual.
No, I agree with you.
No human would compliment you to the point that OpenAI, that ChatGPT compliments you. That's not normal.
This is the point that I'm making, is that like you can look at the Grok stuff and being like, this is repulsive, and you would be correct because it is completely repulsive. But like everything is kind of dragging that way.
Yeah,
that is like
it's dragging that way because that's what we want.
Well, it's not me, but like what the people.
I say
want.
We
as a
human being.
No, yeah. People like to be...
but don't lie. Like, I've told I've put in all of the pre-prompts and everything for AI, like saying, don't suck me off. Don't tell me how good my question is. Don't say that's blah,
don't
blah.
Don't agree if I'm wrong. Question my premises, blah, blah, blah.
But my brain can't help it. But when the AI says... Like,
great question.
That's actually really...
That's a sharp observation.
My brain releases a little bit of dopamine.
Yeah, exactly.
It can't help it. I'm only human,
which is crazy.
I can't help it when I'm like, that was fucking hot. I am a genius.
It's crazy that we've evolved this way, this fucking cooperative monkey dynamics, which helped us thrive on the fucking savannah as fucking Proto-Indo-Europeans on the steppe.
Yeah,
this Eurasian steppe. This is what helped us bond as people.
Yeah, and
survive the cruel and harsh winters. And now it's being exploited by these machines to tell us that your question was sharp as hell.
And I say this to say that as a human being, as a Homo sapien, as far as I know, I get a little bit of dopamine. So of course, as you say, they're just gonna pull it and pull it and pull it and pull it to the point where, yes, I have a fucking anime waifu telling me that I am so smart
and hot
and actually, for my age, pretty good body. And I don't
Exactly.
even notice the fact you're losing hair.
Yeah,
you know? You know?
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to... Our
Actually,
monkey brain...
there was a post by Derek Thompson, who's one of he's one of the abundance guys with Ezra Klein. But he did a big thing, which I thought was true. He did a thread on Twitter where he was kind of like, it's definitely an underrated phenomenon that there are going to be more and more people who have spent their entire formative life speaking to a personalized AI that is just telling them they are correct all the time.
Yeah.
And that multiplied over infinity, either if it's in the form of like a slightly more serious, austere, sterile way where it's OpenAI talking to you in a personal way, or it's like full-on fucking cyberpunk dystopia, horny robot XAI thing where you're just fully lost in this kind of like, you are being reinforced constantly.
Yeah.
You're being, everyone loves to,
Why would you post something on Twitter or Facebook or Threads or whatever, like some opinion that you have to get 2 engagements and like at best someone flaming you when you can have an AI suck you off for everything you say?
Yeah. No, and I think it's a dynamic that we're going to see play out in. I mean, you thought iPad babies were bad.
So if one thing we haven't really talked about on Down Around that much, but I think is kind of under discussed is there, and this is maybe a classic fucking millennial, like now raging on the younger generation. I'm not raging on them.
We've been waiting to rage on the younger generations.
Yeah.
It's been...
There is a generation, and we have talked about it, like people who their entire social group is online. It's, on Fortnite or Roblox or whatever it is. Okay, these are kind of 26, 27-year-old men, other than popping out to like the supermarket and maybe going to the gym, they don't speak to people in real life. Their friends don't come over to their house. Like they only converse via online.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a normal thing for a certain demographic of people where it's like literally their entire social life is online. Speaking to people face to face and in real life is something they might do. In the case of the, certain people I see, it's like they might do that once a year.
Yeah.
Outside of maybe their family or whatever. And like, but that's just kind of a way of living where your entire social life is online. And like, that's not random psychos on WoW, which is what it used to be back in the day. 10 years ago, it was like, what? All your friends are on World of Warcraft or whatever? It's like there is like a significant percentage of people whose life exists fully online.
Yeah.
And it's not like 1%. It's like 20%.
No, it's pretty substantial. And then again, but we will get to the point where it's sort of like at least those people are sort of talking to real people over Discord or like whatever, WhatsApp. They, it may be completely alienated from what we have long expected human contact to be like, but then you'll have like a substrate of people who are like,
they don't speak to humans.
I don't need to. I've got my fucking XAI Grok anime babe who's a beautiful companion, as the title of the product is. So, Elon, in conclusion, you can either do this or do the birth rate thing that you're obsessed with. I feel like you cannot do both of those things.
These are diametrically opposed.
Pick a path. And I know like the Mars stuff fits in there somewhere, like you're trying to go to Mars, but you got to find a way to triangulate properly, brother, because it's not working as far as from my perspective.
I'm going to put it out there. This is obviously not science, but I reckon you could draw a graph where it's more time speaking to an AI waifu.
Yep.
It's a inverse correlation with number of children.
Number of children you have. Yeah, I think
that's a prediction. That's another bold prediction of mine.
Yeah. All right. No, I'll pay it. All right. We talked about that for a while, but we will move on to
not a lot of info there other than just lamenting on Jesus.
It's a lamentation. Yeah. We will now talk about what we promised at the beginning, which is a bit of Xbox.
Huge victory lap.
Yeah. So the reason we wanted to talk about it over the past few weeks, and the thing that sort of stimulated it, we've talked about it in the past, and this will come into Raph's victory lap he's going to do, which is that Xbox has always been a bit of a weird part of Microsoft's portfolio.
You say that now.
Yes, it has. I mean, it probably has been forever, but certainly over the past 15 years, it's become stranger and stranger compared to Satya Nadella's vision, which is essentially a platform business, cloud platform plus workplace platform plus, software. Hardware is not relevant. The only hardware they really care about is the chips that run their servers.
Yeah.
And everything they do, everything Microsoft does is just selling space.
Yeah.
On that, whether it be
workloads.
Exactly. Workloads for their server chips, whether it be AI, whether it be Office, whether it be whatever. And then bang, in the middle of that, they have Xbox where they're making hardware.
Making hardware for gamers to play games on.
To play video games on. And, yes, they have the Surface. They have the Microsoft Surface. That's their other hardware product. That's kind of big. But
it's pretty good too.
And the Surface is good and it gets updated over time. But the thing where it's like every few years we release a new plastic Xbox.
Yeah, well, even the Surface. Let's go back to the Surface. Even the Surface, the original intention with the Surface was like, we have this pretty sick operating system that is it uses touch, advanced operating system, incredibly modern, and they were pissed off that the OEMs weren't taking advantage of all of the features of the operating system, and so they made the Surface.
It was almost the Pixel, where it was like Google were like, we're going to make the best Android phone.
Exactly.
They were like, we are going to make the best.
No one is utilizing the operating system.
We're going to make the best Windows device, and then it's going to encourage our OEMs to do better, and then also it gives us a new profit center or whatever. Now, the whole reason we wanted to bring up Xbox is that Microsoft cut 9,000 jobs earlier this month. Xbox was particularly hard hit at that time. They lost a lot of time. They shut down a bunch of the studios they own. And there's a general vibe that Xbox is not doing that well. So just as a reminder, Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard for $70 billion.
Let's put that in perspective. The biggest acquisition Apple has ever made is Beats for $3 billion.
Yeah.
Apple being, not right now, NVIDIA, but like typically the biggest company on the planet.
Yeah. It's top three, usually one. Biggest, and, Apple is not a super acquisitive business, but still, $3 billion compared with Microsoft spending $70 billion
on a gaming company
to buy the company that makes Call of Duty. And everyone at the time thought, that's crazy. There are not many businesses you can buy where you are going to earn back in profit $70 billion over a decent time frame to pay back the acquisition, plus what you would expect for future growth, future building out, whatever. This was like a purely an entertainment software business. You wouldn't buy a Hollywood studio for $70 billion.
Yeah. Now, before we start talking about Activision Blizzard, I'm going to take my victory lap, and then we can get into analysis because, get it out of the way. You, dear listener, was I or was I not, answer me this, was I not the first person that you ever heard say, why does Microsoft have Xbox? They should get rid of it.
You did say that, and it was a shocking comment.
At the time,
it was probably a year and a half ago you said it.
Maybe two. I'll timestamp it. I'll put it in. I'm gonna play it right now with the timestamp. Now.
Episode 79, May 5th, 2023.
Basically, should Microsoft bother with Xbox is my question, or should they be focusing all those time, energy, resources somewhere else that they actually have a core competency that they can actually make some friggin' money off? Because right now, if they can't move Xbox into the cloud, they can't make money off Xbox. Mm-hmm. There's no future for it.
Xbox in the top. You're a PlayStation army man.
Hopefully that was.
Hopefully you found it.
Hopefully I found it, and hopefully that was hot flames.
So to specify, just for people who haven't glommed onto like the video game market or whatever, Microsoft is like a perennial third place. There's Sony with the PlayStation stuff, and then there's Nintendo.
Out on their own.
Doing their own thing, but making a fucking buckload of money. As we've talked about in the past, Nintendo's a great company. Mm. And it seems like, they just released the Switch 2, and the sales look insane. So
Then this is for a device that doesn't do that much more than the
it's an up-down Switch 2, and the early
graphics and
the early sales look amazing.
Yeah.
So
no, it's a sick console.
Incredible work to the boys in Tokyo once more. But Xbox, obviously, they released the first one. Bill Gates announced the very first Xbox in 2001 or whatever it was. You know, many people thought that like the Xbox 360 was kind of like the quality and sort of legacy winner of that generation. But since then, they've just been stumbling through. They're always selling the third most out of those three competitors.
They made some issues with like forcing people. They were trying to force the Xbox to be like your home entertainment system.
Yeah, exactly. Like the hub of your lounge room where you would do all sorts of different stuff. You know, games were just one of many things that it did. The gamers didn't like that.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like to play second fiddle to Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, one of their launches, like so much, it was like 80% of the launch of the Xbox was
One, yeah.
The Xbox One was about it being a home entertainment center and
this, that, and the other. They've stumbled. They haven't won as much as Sony has in terms of their first party titles or whatever.
Well, that's the thing. They were late to that as well. Sony had all these fantastic first-party titles because Sony recognized early. Again, you got to hand it to those boys in Japan. There's not that much differentiation between the hardware, between Xbox and Sony and PlayStation. Then your differentiation is in your first-party titles. So we're going to fully optimize for the games that you can buy because it doesn't really matter what our graphics card is or performance is because it's going to be the same.
And Sony really lent into like these big single-player cinematic like blockbuster experiences. People liked that, and like that led to console sales and whatever. So as a result, Microsoft has found themselves in a position where they are third place behind Sony and Nintendo. As I said before, a system where it's like, why are they even making it? Microsoft doesn't make that much stuff apart from they've given up on mobile phones, but they're still doing this. Now, Microsoft's big saving grace was Game Pass, which was like the Netflix style subscription. You pay $23 a month, you get access to this massive library of titles. I think it's been revealed that is not that economical.
Yeah, exactly. The only people who are going to take you up on paying a monthly subscription for access to a whole bunch of games are people who it makes economical sense for. People who buy every game are like, what a great deal. I'll pay $19 a month or whatever. And I get access
get all the stuff I want day one.
Then I don't have to buy the games on the Xbox store. People who who buy like one or two games will just continue to buy one or two games.
Yeah.
So you're basically just losing money.
Yeah. And this is happening in tandem with the fact, and this is the big fracture point currently, that as I think we've talked about in previous Downrant episodes, the current spend on blockbuster video games is astronomical.
Yeah.
These things cost tens, if not hundreds of $1 millions to make. On the absolute upper end, which is like extreme, it seems like the new Grand Theft Auto game has cost more than $1 billion to make. Which is fine for Grand Theft Auto because it will make that back and then some. The GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out 12 years ago and still prints money because people still play the online stuff. So that's slightly different. So they're happy to pay $1 billion plus to make that. $1 billion
plus for a video game.
It's pretty crazy, right? So that's funny. But the average video game development process has blown out tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, to make like a top spec blockbuster game. If you're spending that much money, you need people to be paying $100 a pop.
They spent $70 billion on Activision Blizzard. $70 billion.
$70 billion to then take it and put it on their $20 or $30 a month subscription service for people that are like, oh, great, I'll get the new COD when it comes out because I'm paying this $30 a month.
It's hard.
It's hard. These are expensive games. They come out once a year.
I mean, this is the one thing. This is, again, why I can see why, and we've talked about this for years, Satya Nadella obviously just did not have personal investment in games.
No.
He gave them a bunch of money. Like he signed off, at the end of the day, he's CEO. He signed off on them making these deals, but it does not seem particularly strategic. I do get the grand strategy. As I said, the grand strategy is the future of gaming is subscription gaming, which I get. Like, I get that. And I would be someone who's like, I've got my Netflix, I've got my Spotify, I've got my Apple One.
And you can also see the logic if you're a Satya Nadella.
Yeah. He's it's a workload on Azure.
It's a workload, and he looks at it and goes, okay.
So we can make a margin on a workload on Azure.
He's like, entertainment. Yeah. What is Microsoft's entertainment product? Okay, we've already got it.
Minecraft.
And Minecraft, as we said before, Minecraft was Satya Nadella's first big acquisition. Like, the first thing Satya Nadella, as CEO of Microsoft, he spent, I think it was $3 billion on Minecraft, which again...
That was a good acquisition.
That was a good acquisition. Like, Minecraft would have made absolutely insanely on top of that initial investment. So, like, great work, Satya Nadella. But it's very funny that Satya Nadella gets wedded to the fact first acquisition was Minecraft. His most recent big one was Activision Blizzard. And again, he would have been looking at it being like, as we said before, it's another workload for our Azure servers. But he's also thinking, looking at raw numbers, people spend X amount of time on computers for entertainment. What is our entertainment play? We're not going to build a movie studio like Apple. We're not going to get involved in streaming. Although they kind of have, because they run Netflix's ad network. It's Microsoft now. But also they're like, okay, so we already had Bill Gates fucking launch Xbox years ago. It's gaming. Yeah. And if you look at any of the figures and how Americans spend their time, any reasonable biz dev person would be like, gaming.
Well, and
100%.
And like Steam, right? Where it's like you have this platform on our platform that is minting money with minimal costs.
I get,
It's still the price tag is just so big.
It's crazy. But again, Steam is kind of a funny one because the Financial Times just did a big piece on Steam because, I mean, if you're looking at it as like a Financial Times reporter, you would look at a business like Steam, brings in $10 billion a year revenue and has 300 employees, and you'd be like, that's a pretty good business. But again, Steam's entire business model, I don't think they have a subscription thing, but it's all straight up clipping the ticket on people paying for games. But Steam also has this weird thing, and I was reading a bit of like business analysis of it recently, where it's kind of like Steam does so many sales and whatever. There's like a full expectation that there's a massive like whale market who just buy games because they're on sale and just never play them. Literally just handing Steam free money for like, oh, fuck, this game that's normally $90 is now $40. Fuck, I better get it right now. They never, ever play it in their whole fucking life. And they've got 100 of these games in their backlog.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good business.
That's really good business. It's like the gym business where it's like, sell people on a 12-month subscription to a gym who just never come. So you can completely oversell.
But as I said, like $10 billion a year of revenue for 300 staff is like a mental business.
Yeah. No,
but again, that is not subscriptions. That is pure Apple style clipping the ticket on sales.
Yeah.
But trying to make Game Pass work.
It doesn't work.
Netflix kind of works, and they have had to cut down massively on their content production.
Yeah, exactly. And they are the number one. They are the default kind of content streaming network.
They're not exactly. They're like one. They're the winner. They're number one. Everyone else is trying to eat their lunch, but they're winning. To be like, I'm third.
Well, this is why they had to do. Again, we've talked about this before, but it's like they had to do the Hail Mary, which was. Actually, everyone is going to... Streaming is going to just proliferate across all content forms, from music to Netflix and videos or whatever, to now gaming, and we'll be the dominant force because we're going to disrupt the business model of gaming. But,
it's just not working yet.
It's not the same. It's not the same. People don't sit down and be like, I've got a bit of time on my hand. Which of the million games am I going to play today? They play the game they're playing right now.
Yeah, which is probably Fortnite, and all that money is going to Epic Games or whatever. The thing that I think is going to break this like stalemate is so that they're already releasing like an Xbox handheld that's not made by Microsoft.
No, it's Xbox as a platform. Again, I predicted this years ago.
Yeah, so the handheld is made by Asus, It's like they've got like their own Steam Decky sort of handheld thing.
Yeah, and Xbox is an operating system. On top of it.
Exactly. So there's that. So they're doing that, and it seems like there could be a future where it's like PC mode, where it's like Asus makes an Xbox, Alienware makes.
Well,
an
I think
Xbox.
I said our dream is to have the Xbox store on PlayStation.
Yeah, like you can play it anywhere. But the secondary model, and I think that Microsoft is definitely thinking about this with all their job cuts and whatever, is we need to do something to get the quality that our customers expect while fucking propelling down the cost of production. Like just dragging it down from costing tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. And that is probably, in the way, I think that what they're investing in is like AI-assisted development of games to accelerate it. But the problem they're running, I think they're going to run into, is that like of all demographics and all consumer segments, the segment that is most opposed to using AI in production is games.
Gamers,
they fight like
they're a tough cohort.
They're a tough cohort for that kind of stuff. And part of it is kind of like there's a version of it where like gamers hate using AI to like generate art and assets and stuff. I actually think there will be the games industry is in a bit of a lull right now, in a bit of a sense of they can't square the circle between massive output costs plus massive production costs plus like all this weird distribution stuff, massively crowded market, blah, 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 blah. I think there will be like another boom, which will be really, really small teams building stuff using not generative AI for assets, but like using like AI assisted development. I think we're going to see that happen, and we're going to have another indie game explosion as like
they can all of a sudden do kind of more open worldy stuff.
Tiny fucking teams based in like India or whatever are putting out stuff that's like relatively quality. I think we'll see that again, but again,
I feel like the big AI unlock in games is that like, and I know it's hard to control, but more using LLMs and whatnot to have and like the storyline be different every time you play it.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
I think there will be
and the characters changing a bunch and whatever.
There'll be a bit of that. But I do think that like the thrust of it would be like smaller teams using AI to help them like
make mad games with smaller teams.
Speed up their production
efficiency,
pipelines.
Mate. We're talking about productivity here.
It's productivity.
There'll be some productivity games within the gaming market.
So like that may help drag costs down, but it's also like, I don't know. I think the economics are just like completely fucked. Yeah, and obviously that this is what Xbox is staring at and Microsoft's staring at. Then they've cut all these staff and jobs and whatever, and it's obviously like incredibly roiling for the industry. But it's just like, fuck, man, you got to figure out what's going on. And again, it comes down.
This is one of the most fucked things about games, right? Games are more popular than they've ever been, ever.
Yeah,
every year they get more popular. More people play games, and yet somehow the gaming industry is like in crisis.
Yeah.
How has this happened?
Yeah. And like part of it is still them like rebounding from the huge boom that happened during COVID when millions and millions of people were locked in their houses and couldn't do anything but play video games. But
like literally 30 years ago, if you'd said, oh yeah, by the way, on the side of buses in Sydney, Australia, there'll be ads, and I'm talking about like 7 years ago, there'll be ads for expansion packs
for Diablo.
For Diablo or whatever. Just like and like World of Warcraft's latest kind of expansion thing that completely meaningless to 99% of the population. But regardless of that, like there's a new expansion pack every 6 months for World of Warcraft, and it'll be advertised on buses throughout cities. And by the way, gaming is in crisis and no one knows how to make money other than like a very small handful. In the sci-fi future where you're like, oh, there's ads for fucking expansion packs on buses, you'd be like, Jesus Christ, it is the dominant entertainment form.
Yeah.
And they're just rolling around in money.
Yeah.
But somehow it's
not. Yeah,
what the fuck?
The math's not working. Except for your Grand Theft Autos, which I'm sure.
And except for your Candy Crushes or Monopoly or whatever.
Candy Crush,
Monopoly Go or whatever.
And Candy Crush is a Microsoft product via the Activision Blizzard acquisition. So like I'm sure that's doing quite well. I don't know if that's paying back their $80 billion investment or whatever, but anyway, that's interesting. And we'll have to see, but we will rank it as a dub, because when Raph said Microsoft should cancel Xbox, and it started to look pretty dodgy when they were happy to spend $80 billion on it. But yes, it does seem like it's in real.
It's a huge dub for me. Come on, let's be frank. No one. I was the first person you heard to say that. You say get rid of Xbox.
Get rid of it. Delete it.
Gone.
They should send people into people's houses to take them out.
You were like, what?
Yeah, I was shocked.
Now, be frank. You, the listener as well, were like, what the hell? I've never heard anyone say such an absurd thing.
I'm playing my Xbox right now, and I'm loving it.
And look at where we are. Look where we are. This is why you subscribe.
Anyway, interesting. We'll see how that goes. I'm sure we'll return to it. But for now, we are moving to our premium episode where we're going to talk about windsurf, meta. There's a couple of other bits and pieces to catch up on. So if you are not a Downround Premium subscriber, well, that is a problem, and you have to resolve it right now.
Downround.net.
Downround.net. Sign up.
Simple. It's so easy to remember.
Oh, God, it's so easy. And you can get an extra episode every single week. Imagine an extra, 40 minutes or so to hear about some other topic. Head to downround.net, sign up. No ads. You can also join our Discord and enjoy posting with all the people in our Discord. We'll see you on the other side of the wall.
Tell them, Jim.